I will begin the recording. I'll make you the host. Let me do that real fast here. Yes. Okay.
All righty. Am I in your way? Oops.
Explore and learn about Bacone College.
Okay, here we go. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Bacone College, Deborah asked me to speak about. I had done a similar presentation for our DAR chapter. Bacone College is a school, the Daughters of the American Revolution supports various schools as well as other projects. And Bacone is one that we support. As you heard in the blurb that was sent out about the meeting, it's one of the oldest American Indian colleges in the country, if not the oldest. But just a little bit of background about how I got interested in this. One of the committees, the DAR has, I think it's probably over 40 committees if you count internal committees, but one of the committees is the American Indians Committee. And, you know, like a lot of people, you know, there's always these legends in your family that there's at least one American Indian ancestor, and whether that's true or not is, you know, debatable, but it is something that's of interest to me. In the committee, its main focus is promoting American Indian history and culture. Since the late 30s, the DAR has supported American Indian schools as well as a youth camp. The committee also focuses on things like Native American Heritage Month, and it works to preserve historic sites that's connected with American Indians. And every month, our meetings, we usually have what's called an Indian Minute, American Indian Minute, which is some sort of historical fact or anecdote that just so we can learn about American Indians. So these are the three schools that we've been supporting over the years. Bacone College, which, or Bacone, which we will talk more about, but the Chamale Indian School in Salem, Oregon, it is a boarding school.
For the generation, all these contests that you have.
It's been around since the 1880s, and it's it's called an off-reservation boarding school. They usually board 300 to 400 students, grades 9 to 12. And it's besides just being a resource for American Indian children to get a good education, they also, as with Bacone, promote, you know, preserving some of the tribal traditions, as well as, you know, wanting to help guide youth to be a positive contributor to their tribal community. The Indian Youth of America Summer Camp is just that, a summer camp for American Indian youth. While they're based in Iowa, the camps are actually held in Arizona and South Dakota. And as you could probably guess, they do focus on American Indian culture, I think they teach them songs and dances, and, they learn to make different arts and crafts that are traditional to American Indians. The DAR, they have what they call DAR leadership webinars on a regular basis. And this video I'm going to show you was a part of that. Bacone about 5 years ago had fallen on hard times, and it was discussed about the possibility of just that it would completely go defunct, this college. It has survived thanks to some tribes that have stepped in. They're based in Oklahoma. And so this video is from May of 2020, but it does give you a good idea about the college, as well as some of the, I guess, the artwork they're known for. They also do have put value on Indian culture, and have some genealogy resources there. So here is the video.
Welcome. My name is Suzanne Heskey, National Chair of the American Indians Committee, and today's host as we explore and learn about Bacone College, pronounced Bacone. The goal of today's presentation is to provide a historical and educational overview, as well as an update on the college's current state of affairs. It has been said that educating a Native American child is equivalent to tossing a pebble into a lake. The ripples go out forever. Bacone's founders envisioned a college that would challenge students to develop intellectual and social skills, spiritual values, and healthy lifestyles by providing quality education in a nurturing Christian environment. Oklahoma's first college, Indian University, now Bacone College, began classes on February 9, 1880, with 3 students at Jones Hall in Tahlequah, Indian Territory, and existed here until Reverend Almon C. Bacone, the school's founder and first president, and the initial students outgrew the facility. The purpose of the school was to provide Christian education for American Indians under the governance of the American Baptist Home Mission Society until the late 1950s. The Indian University building of Tahlequah, seen here, was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1976.
Oops. Okay, sorry.
As the student population grew at the Indian University, space became an issue and resulted in the Muskogee Creek Nation donating 160 acres of their land. In 1885, just 5 years after the official opening, the Indian University moved to its present Muskogee campus amongst the Arkansas, Neosho, and Verdigris rivers. Between 1883 and 1907, 43 graduates received either bachelor's or master's degrees, and in 1910, the institution was renamed to Bacone College in honor of the Reverend Almon C. Bacone. Almon C. Bacone, an educator, was born April 25, 1830, in Scott, Cortland County, New York. After graduating with a master's degree from the University of Rochester, New York, in 1858, he taught in numerous areas across the country, including New York, New Jersey, Ohio, and Michigan. In 1887, Bacone arrived in Tahlequah, Indian Territory, to direct the Cherokee Male Seminary. 2 years later, in 1880, the Baptist Academy, later called Indian University, began its legacy in a small room of the Baptist Mission House, with Bacone being the sole faculty member and first president. In addition to Alman, there were other prominent men in the school's early history, including the Reverend Daniel Rogers, a missionary to the Cherokee and the initial contact with the American Baptist Home Mission Society, and Joseph Samuel Murrow, a Southern Baptist missionary who worked with Bacone and Rogers to create the Muskogee facility. In 1884, during a fundraising trip, Alman received a generous donation for the school from the Euclid Avenue Baptist Church in Cleveland, Ohio, which he had attended years earlier. Soon afterwards, Laura Spellman Rockefeller, who had been Bacone's colleague in Cleveland, persuaded her husband, John D. Rockefeller, to make a $10,000 contribution. This enabled the erection in 1885 of the first building, Rockefeller Hall, on the new campus in Muskogee. It was at this time that students and faculty boarded wagons and drove from Tahlequah to the new school, calling their move the Great Removal. During these early years, Rockefeller Hall, commonly referred to as the Old Rock, served as classroom, dormitory, dining hall, chapel, teachers' quarters, and the administration building. In 1938, the Old Rock was dismantled, and much of the material from Rockefeller Hall was used to build a memorial chapel on the same site. So, like the Phoenix, the Old Rock was resurrected as a memorial chapel. Erected on the campus hilltop, the stately memorial chapel was dedicated to the cause of Christian education for Indian youth. However, on December 28, 1990, a massive fire destroyed the original chapel and was rebuilt over the next several years following the devastation. Many of the buildings from those early days continue to stand on campus, some of which are still used today for a variety of purposes. In 2014, many of the buildings constructed on campus in those early years were placed on the National Register of Historic Places. This 1948 picture of Sally Journey Cake Hall, dedicated January 30th, 1937, was named after Sally Journey Cake, mother of Charles Journey Cake, a Christian Indian chief of the Lenape or Delaware Indians. In later life, Journey Cake was unofficially recognized as the Delaware's principal chief. An accomplished intellectual, he maintained a large library at his home near Allowee in present Nowata County, Oklahoma, and contributed time and money to Bacone College. Pictured here are the girls' and boys' dormitories from 1912 to 1953. And this is a picture of the president's home from 1912 to 1953. The Benjamin Wochachi Hall is one of several campus buildings that contributed to Bacone's recognition on the National Register of Historic Places. The hall's collegiate Gothic-style buildings date back to 1924 and today is used for various ceremonies, including graduation and wedding functions. Also pictured is a salt kettle sitting near Bacone's Samuel Richards Memorial Hall, which was built in 1922 and today continues to serve multiple purposes. Equally important to education was ensuring the cultural and spiritual development of all students attending the school. Athletics has played a role in most of the school's history, as you can see in this 1907 photograph of the football team. This is a 1927 photograph of the Bacone Indian Band. Native Americans have risen above unparalleled challenges to defend our nation with pride and honor, and Bacone students, faculty, and staff have always played an integral role through their storied military service. Pictured here is Company I, a National Guard unit in 1936. Another historical attribute of the Bacone campus is the existence of a cemetery located behind Journey Cake Hall. Buried here is the founder and first president of the school, Almon C. Bacone. The photo on the left is dated 1931, with a more recent photo on the right. In order to attract students to the school, Benjamin D. Weeks, president from 1918 to 1941, advertised Bacone as the only college exclusively for American Indians. He recruited Indian faculty and staff and supported their suggestions of creating classes in Indian culture. As a result, a style of traditional Indian painting developed, and art historians referred to the school as the Bacone School. The school was unlike other tribal schools at the time. Bacone's indigenous students studied advanced academic subjects like social science and indigenous history, rather than elementary education and agriculture. In 1932, a groundbreaking ceremony was organized for a new Indian art lodge and art department building on campus. With this new art department, fine arts became a functional part of Bacone's curriculum. This prepared the way for a new style of American Indian art, the Bacone School of Traditional Indian Art, or simply the Baconian style. The Indian Arts program at Bacone inspired indigenous artists to test the perimeters of the native artistic canyon and assert their own identities through their work. Instructors like W. Dick West, A.C. Blue Eagle, and Woody Crumbo, some of the most prolific and influential native artists of their day, gave hope and continuity to displaced people, reminding them not only of who they had been, but who they still were and could be. A concert vocalist, teacher, humanitarian, and American Indian culture preservationist, Mary Stone Mclendon was born on March 27, 1896, to William and Josephine Smith Stone, near the present town of Duncan in the Chickasaw Nation Indian Territory. Her Chickasaw name, Ataloa or Taloa, meaning anthem or song, was given to her by her maternal grandmother. Ataloa, whose intellectual journey began with the stories of her Chickasaw grandmother, wanted to teach students how to navigate the Western world the way she had. Realizing the only hope for the Indian is the right kind of education, I know my task must be in helping raise the standard of our schools, she told the Literary Digest in 1931. In 1927, Mary Stone Mclendon began working with Bacone College. She taught English and served as the school's first field agent. She also raised money for the development of the new art building on campus. She served as the first director of the art department, and over the years, she obtained significant pieces of artwork for the school's collection. Ataloa Lodge Museum was Mary's dream, and some years later, after her departure from the school in 1935, the Art Lodge was renamed Ataloa Lodge Museum in her honor. Many authorities consider Ataloa Mclendon to have been a pioneer in the commencement of American Indian art education. She was an early and integral force in the beginning of three major art schools: Bacone College, Idlewild School of Music and the Arts in Idlewild, California in the 1950s, and the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico in the early 1960s. Here, she was a counselor and instructor. The museum features one of the largest privately owned collections of Native American history and culture in the United States. Ataloa Museum is Native American operated and houses more than 20,000 pieces of traditional and contemporary Native American art, including a large Kachina doll collection, items of daily and ceremonial use, as well as Civil War memorabilia. The museum is also a cultural and Native American genealogical resource for local schools and surrounding communities. As time moved on, the sustainability of the school was forefront. Roger Getz, president from 1957 to 1966, led the college as it phased out its high school, became self-governing under an Oklahoma charter, earned accreditation from the North Central Association of Colleges and Secondary Schools, and created the first associate degree registered nurse program in Oklahoma. During Dennis Tanner's presidency from 1991 to 1999, the North Central Association granted tentative approval to begin 3 baccalaureate programs. At the turn of the 21st century, the 4-year liberal arts college had an enrollment of 841 and granted the first baccalaureate degree since 1907. A few years ago, Bacone quietly fell into decay and near financial ruin, with its student body dwindling, its old buildings in disrepair, limited community and alumni involvement, and the loss of several large donors. In addition, several Mother Nature-related setbacks, tornadoes, and flood damage took their toll on the once bastion of indigenous culture. The school was forced to let go of all but 5 of the college's 95 employees, who were rehired after the college sold some of its newer properties, sold essential equipment associated with the Bachelor of Science in Nursing or BSN program, cut several athletic programs, and eliminated many outsourced services. Furthermore, in 2018, the Higher Learning Commission, or HLC, which accredits post-secondary educational institutions, placed Bacone on financial and academic or accreditation probation, citing its lack of proper infrastructure and systematic and integrated planning. At the time, the Higher Learning Commission noted that the college had no existing policy or procedure for monitoring its finances and could provide no evidence on how it would meet its future obligations. Today, under new leadership, Dr. Ferlin Clark, in the hearts of alumni, the school is again offering an arts degree as well as classes in film production and looking to expand the American Indian Christian Ministry program to include religious studies and theology. The college's financial accreditation and sustainability will be reevaluated this September 2020. In addition, the college is taking steps to transition from a private institution to a public one and attain congressional as well as Bureau of Indian Affairs status as a chartered tribal college. Currently, 4 tribes are committed to supporting the charter endeavor, which entails encouraging tribal students to attend Bacone along with the necessary scholarship funding. Furthermore, the institution's leadership is establishing a Bacone Development Corporation for the purpose of creating endowments and corporate incentives that could provide a return on investment. Today, the student body is comprised of 64.5% or 271 American Indian students from 31 different tribes. The current student to faculty ratio is 13:1, with 45% of the faculty being American Indian. Bacone offers an array of educational opportunities, including its prominent Indian art program with an extensive Indian art collection. Fewer places have influenced 20th century Native art more than Bacone. In addition, Bacone is the only American Indian Christian ministry program in the country. The school offers an array of cultural and spiritual opportunities, and 65% of the student body participates in one or more athletic programs. Cultural and community events include the excitement of planning and hosting the annual Spring Powwow in Muskogee. The powwow each year features singing, dancing, and other traditional activities. Performers include gourd dance singers and gourd dancers, as well as the Muskogee Nation Color Guard. Throughout the day, the community has the opportunity to browse the American Indian Arts and Crafts Market for original artwork, handmade jewelry, and other items, as well as watching the grand entry dances and contests split by gender. Contest categories for men include fancy, traditional, grass, and southern straight, and contest categories for the women are buckskin, cloth, jingle, and fancy shawl. Yes, today there is a rebirth, a resurgence ongoing at Bacone, focused on the mission of heritage of the school, of Baconian style and indigenous art, by opening doors to Native American students, offering an opportunity to pursue higher learning and education into the future.
Well, that is the end of the video part of it. I did pull up a map just so you can have an idea of the campus. It's not a very big campus. And you can see, like, number 6 is the Ataloa Lodge, where the art and historical and genealogical collection is. You know, number 2 is the chapel. And they have like the Kiva, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Down here, number 18 is like a sweat lodge. So they have, it's kind of an interesting variety. You know, they have a chapel on campus as well as some traditional American Indian items or buildings. Today, I pulled some numbers just so you can get an idea how the college has changed. In 2011, before they went on a decline, they had over 1,000 students. And the numbers that I pulled earlier this year, which was 2020 numbers, the student total was 323. So that kind of gives you an idea how how much things changed for the college, you know, as they went through hard times about 5 years ago. I also thought it was interesting, the breakdown, the demographic breakdown, because when I think of Bacone, I think of it as being, for the most part, all American Indian, but they do have, you know, smaller numbers for other ethnic groups that attend, which I assume some of those are probably, they live in the area, it's a convenient place for them to go. They do still have some of the traditional courses, as you can see on the image to the right, you know, accounting and business administration and elementary education, you know, kind of some standard stuff that the average student would be interested in. And they have improved the numbers. Like, for example, the staff is now 49% Native American, where I think before the prior year it was 45%. So they are working towards, I think, getting back to where they once were. They also have now 5 tribes that are working with them to kind of submit the college and help, you know, with its applications to, you know, be seen as or recognized through other tribes. It is celebrating its 141st year this year. Spring semester started earlier this year. Most of the classes were online, like most schools have had to do. They just had graduation, and I did include a link on the handout I sent Chris to their Facebook page. They did have videos posted of graduation, which I thought it was interesting because it was a mix of like some drumming and traditional American Indian type activities, as well as, you know, kids walking across the stage getting their diploma, the standard, I guess, ways you may think of graduation. I also included some links on the sheet I gave Chris, some YouTube videos that the college has produced. They used to have a video more on the Ataloa building and the art collections and what's there, but it seems to have been taken down. So I was hoping to share that with you. I thought you might find that interesting, but it's, for whatever reason, it's no longer available. When I did this presentation before to our DAR chapter, I had some questions. I won't mention the name. Deborah asked me about interest in what some of the traditional American Indian courses that they teach. And so I did pull from their current offerings, just to give you an idea of some of the things they are offering, so that you know, the college is helping these students to preserve some of their traditions, and as well as, you know, keep languages alive. I know the standard languages they teach were Cherokee and Creek. And I know earlier this year they were offering some other language options, and I don't remember right offhand what they were, but they do have, you know, very much, you know, quite a few courses where even criminal justice related, where it focuses on issues they would deal with on reservations, or like sociology, psychology type issues where they may deal with you know, alcoholism, or different health issues that may be something that the course appears to be created in a way so that they can focus on addressing these issues that they may need in their community. So I thought that was very interesting, and, you know, was glad Deborah asked that, because I thought, you know, that's a good thing to share, as they are helping to preserve some of this past that you know, could be lost. One thing I wanted to bring up is, since we were talking about Bacone, the DAR does offer scholarships. So if you have a family member, or if you know of a youth that has American Indian ancestry, there are scholarships the DAR offers that are focused towards those youth. On the handout, I had a link for the scholarships. It's closed for this year, but later in November, if you know of someone, it is certainly a way, as expensive as college is, for them to explore. The DAR also offers other scholarships, which you can get through that link for other students that aren't of American Indian ancestry. I don't know how long, how much more time I have. I did include, I always try to bring this up when I talk to people, because I've had several people tell me, I'll mention that when they're doing genealogy research, you know, to always check the DAR website. They have public access to some of their collections, and you can visit their library. You do not have to be a member to access stuff. And I've had quite a few people tell me, well, I'm not a member, you know, so they just thought it was closed off. Well, the DAR library does have a collection, which they started in the late 80s, of American Indian genealogical and historical information. They also have a collection of books on specific Indian nations, and while you can't check them out, they are something you could go, if you're in DC and you're doing research on you know, potentially an American Indian ancestor. They do have that available. They also have a database, they call it Patriots of Color, and it's not a database that's just exclusive to American Indians or people of African descent. There are other people grouped in there, whether they're Latin American or they're maybe Caribbean, as well as a downloadable research guide. And if there's time, I can show you how to access that on the website. It just depends on if you're interested in that. There are links on the handouts. But I don't know, you know, if people have questions or if they would like me to show you how to find this stuff, or you know, where you would like me to go from here. And I think Chris must have stepped out. Do you have any, Deborah, you want me to show some of the stuff, or?
You can. I found it to be very interesting.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of the group.
Okay. Well, I'll show it, and if anyone is just bored, then you can let me know. Can you see my screen that says American Indian Scholarships?
We see
Not yet.
we see genealogical research.
Okay, maybe
Right.
there's a delay.
Now I'm still puzzled. Bacone is still located on a reservation. Wrong or right, Laura?
Well, the land, as I understand it, the land was donated
Right.
by one of the tribes. I don't, I'm not 100% sure if it's still, I don't know that it's considered reservation land anymore.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering about that.
Yeah. I did bring up the screen that shows the scholarships. I don't know if you can see that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because I think there's a slight delay
Yeah.
when I share stuff. So this is the screen I was talking about. If you know a youth that's looking for college money, this is certainly a place they can go to apply. And on the right-hand side here are other areas. You don't have to be, the students don't have to be connected with DAR in some form or fashion. I just wanted to share that.
You said they do not have to be associated?
They don't. I think there's one here that you have to be a son or a daughter of a member, but there's others here that, let me click on it. I don't know if it's showing the one for history, economics, government, and political science.
So that's just the scholarships though, right?
Yeah, yeah. You don't, I just want to share that in case, there's somebody out there looking for college money. For the DAR library, I clicked to that screen. I don't know if it's showing it now. It's a traditional card catalog that you can use to do searching like other genealogy resources. If you click on the catalog, you can type in a name or whatever. And it'll show you, they have a large collection of Bible records. So this is what for Foster, this is a family name it brought up. So it is a resource, if you're ever looking for something, I'm kind of the mindset that it doesn't hurt to check. You never know where something will pop up. They do have search services. And I put a link on the handout for that. So if there are documents you want to get, they'll make photocopies for you. There's a little supporting documentation form you can fill out here, and they can send you copies if you're interested. There's a photocopy request. If you have a family member or an ancestor was a member of DAR, but you have no interest in it, you can still get a copy of their application and potentially their supporting documentation. If you want to use that for your genealogy research, that is something you can order that. So that is there. And that's, you can get a record copy. It's on the same page, if you want to access that for whatever reason. There's also a link. It's called Revolutionary War Records. It's a user guide, and I don't know if you can see it. It's like a PDF. It may take a moment to pop up.
It's a user guide on here. Revolutionary War Records user guide.
This is, some of these PDFs get large, so I did include a link on the handout I gave Chris. So if anyone wants to get in and use, this is something they can download and use to look up records. And like I said, they have a large collection of Bible records. They have different research they've done on pension files. They have collections of if people paid, supported the Army, like if they paid, and I'm drawing a complete blank on, I want to say taxes, but it's, they paid to support the, during the Revolutionary War. You just have to get in here and look. But there is this PDF you can download, and it would be of help to you. The Patriots of Color database that I mentioned, hopefully you can see it. You can search by surname or state or source. So like if you clicked on state and say, was looking for somebody in Massachusetts. And I thought their last name was a B. It'll bring up this information on, you know, and you can search through it. There are more detailed search options, of course, but it'll give information, you know, what it has on them, you know, if they're a certain Indian tribe, you know, references where you can find resources where they're mentioned, and it'll tell you, you know, like if the DAR library has it, or the Hathi Trust, or, you know, Harvard Library. So that's another resource you can look for. And like I said, it's not just, you know, people of African descent or American Indian. There's Hispanics. I know there was some French that aided, people of mixed race. And also over here on the right-hand side in the box, it says Forgotten Patriots Research Guide. You can click on that. And these are PDFs. They're kind of large for me to have given you as attachments for Chris to send, but you can download these publications. And they give you a little bit of history, but they also list names of people they've identified that fought in the Revolutionary War. They give resources of, you know, like books they can be linked to, or different sources of, you know, just additional ways that you can record your ancestors. There's also here, you know, you can look at pension index if you're looking for somebody's pension. Like I said, there's lots of information here, even if you're not interested in Daughters of the American Revolution, just to use for your genealogy research, for your records and files. And it's free to use. You don't have to be a member. And there's also Ancestor at the across the top here, Ancestor, or if you know a descendant's name of somebody that fought, you can plug their name in and search. So there's lots of extra information there. Another link I included on the handout was to the online library lectures. They're free to watch them. Unfortunately, the last one DAR uploaded was from February of 2020. But there is one that's a Native American Genealogy 101 lecture. But there's other lectures on here, you know, that it may be stuff you already know, but there also may be something on here that might help you if you're looking for like research in New York. And some of them, I have to admit, the recordings I don't think are as good as others, but again, it's something I like to share because you never know when it's going to help somebody. And it's, again, free to use. So they have a collection on different states. Kind of, you know, different things like nicknames and military genealogy. You know, some of this stuff is I'm sure on topics some of you are very familiar with. You know, it is something that, you know, hopefully it is a resource that would be of help to you. And as far as my program, that's it. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments or, you know.
Laura, this is Diane. This is a great presentation. Thank you so much for giving it to us.
Oh, you're
Chris
welcome.
said that Chris said you are a member of the New England Society,
Yes.
right? What historical? What state are you from? You know, your ancestors from in that New England area? Because I have some up that way too.
Massachusetts. is the big one. Now, we believe there's some ancestors that have gone, like went over to Rhode Island and that type of thing. But the main New England is Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Yeah, our family is Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
yeah.
In joining that association, did you find it helpful?
Well, to be completely honest, I just joined earlier this year because I talked to a friend of mine who's done a lot of genealogy research in New England, and she said that she found it very beneficial. And Mom and I have gotten to the point where I know through them I can access more New England records that, without traveling. So I joined to see if, I don't know if I'll re-up again next
Right.
year or not, but, and then I also recently found out that on my dad's side, I may have a Mayflower ancestor. And I found that out through Family Search contacted me and told me that, through my tree that they've, so I haven't spent much time yet looking into that, but it's something that I think would be kind of neat to learn more about. So it,
Right.
I'm certainly happy as I get into them more, doing research with them, letting you know what I find out, and because it was a bit
And
more
how
than I
you
wanted
did
to
it.
pay, but I thought, while I'm spending so much time at home, maybe it'll be helpful.
You're
Well,
right.
Laura,
Right.
Yeah.
Laura, are you a member of the Jamestown Society?
No.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Laura, I have a question concerning Bacone College. The Native American participants or the students, were they mainly from the eastern tribes of the United States or from the western tribes?
The students, the impression I have is they were from all over, but mainly the Oklahoma area.
Okay.
I have a list here. The tribes I had, which were the most involved, were Cherokee, Osage,
Diane.
Cheyenne, Arapaho. There's a couple I'm not sure how to pronounce. Kiowa or something like that.
Yeah, Kiowa.
Oh, Kiowa.
And
Iowa.
and you had the Oto or OTOE was one of them I wrote down.
I enjoyed it again, Laura. I did. Every time I hear it, I get something else out of it.
Yeah. Last month we had a Trail of Tears presentation, and so were those descendants from those tribes also represented in Bacone College?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe so, because with it have starting back in the 1800s, and that seemed to be a main resource where they were focused on, educating the American Indians, which I know years back that was very controversial because they, took them and basically wanted them to become more like white people than, carry on their culture. But it seems like Bacone has kind of tried to retain some of that culture through their art and different activities. So
okay.
The art was beautiful that was in that movie that you showed. The art was really pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty art.
Yeah. Was there an early restriction on only Native Americans, or like if you were maybe 1/4 or 1/16, could you still be a student there, or was it exclusively full-blooded Native Americans?
I have never found where it said. I assume it was I would assume there had to have been people that attended years back that were not full-blooded,
Okay,
because I never saw anything that said it was, exclusive where you had to be a full-blooded
okay,
Indian to get in.
okay.
So,
But you do have to have a certain amount of blood or percentage to be included in their tribe. I
yeah.
know that much.
Yeah, but they do have, people, that are white or black or Hispanics that attend that school. And my guess is it's probably the local school that, people,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's students like anywhere that, work and go to school and that type of thing. And that's,
Right.
convenient.
In the video, it said that they had hit upon hard times, but they were getting better.
Mhm.
Did it look like, from what you had read, that it was gonna continue on? Or do you know?
Yes, from the last report I heard earlier this year, and it's mainly due to these tribes stepping in and wanting to be more involved in the running of it. And I had meant to look, and I didn't think about it till actually during the presentation. The last time I looked, they had put forward business plans and everything just to keep it more, I guess, self-sustaining and to meet these accreditation goals to keep all that. So I think the tribes, are really the ones pushing this forward and are going to help sustain this, even though, there's people like members of DAR that support it and give them donations. But I think it's good that these tribes are stepping forward and to help maintain this school and run it and, make sure traditions and cultural type courses are carried on.
So in other words, I guess you're saying they got their accreditation back? Or
They were working.
I know they're working on
on.
it.
because I know sometimes it takes a
It
while
said
to
they
get
were
your
on
accreditation.
probation.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
What?
they're on
It-
probation.
It said that they were on probation, so that doesn't
Oh,
mean they
probation.
lost it. They just have to do something within a certain time frame
Okay.
usually
Yeah.
to maintain it.
From what I remember, like I said, I realized when I was doing this, I forgot to go back and check on an update. Last I heard, they were maintaining that. It hadn't decreased as far as them, everything I had read in the last report I had looked at, that they were improving and meeting goals. And to be completely honest, I don't know enough about how the probationary period works. But I know back in, I guess it was 2018, there was lots of talk about whether or not they were going to close them. So,
Usually there's certain benchmarks they have to meet at certain time frames.
Right. I wish them much success then.
No.
Because there's few schools like that,
Yeah.
and they can retain and keep their culture alive.
mhm. Yeah.
Oh, Laura, you did a marvelous job as usual.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep,
thanks,
thank you
Laura.
very much.
And on the handout is my cell phone number, and you can text me or call. And then my Proton mail, email, I check it all the time. Or you can email my Gmail, which I know is on the Genealogy Society directory. But if you have questions, or if you're getting in and using the DAR website for genealogy research, and you have a question or something, but you know, there's also the
Yeah, thank-
library resources, you know, they're not fully opened. I know Washington DC has been really locked down big time. But I know they're starting to open up more. So.
Well, thank you about the DAR website, because I knew it was open in parts of it, but I didn't know all that other was great. That's wonderful. I'm going to start using it for other things. Thank you.
And they are, and I may have, you know, they're affiliated with the family history libraries, you know, through Salt Lake. So they're I guess an affiliate library or whatever. So if you ever, you know, you're doing research up there, and so that's another resource. I know sometimes people go to DC for a couple of weeks and research and
Well, very good, Laura. Thank you very much for your presentation and the time and effort you put into it for us. And we greatly appreciate it. Any other questions from our society?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yay.
Well, we'll see everyone the second Sunday of next month. And until then, okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a nice month.
Yes.